Tonight on the Black Channel, red wave, blue wave, tidal wave. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel, and I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college and university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, you know, folks, we've been warning about this for over a decade. People like Dr. Claude Anderson have been warning about this for multiple decades now, and it is going down and coming down exactly the way that we told you it would. And as I predicted a decade ago, that they weren't going to be able to move slowly anymore. They were going to have to move quick. They're going to have to get after it. They're going to have to be blatant, and they're going to have to be upfront. And the strategy here is that they're going to present politicians, and even if you vote those politicians out, they're going to replace those politicians with individuals who are just going to continue the same policies that you thought you had just voted out. That's the game plan. It is not about overturning the status quo. It is about maintaining the status quo. So what I'm doing here is I'm going about the work here tonight to go ahead and bring that to your attention. What I want to start with first is New York City. In New York City, they didn't have to have years of illegal aliens showing up. They only had to have a couple of months of them showing up. And they are ready to tap out and throw in the towel and are screaming for federal help, which means they want the rest of the country to subsidize that. And we're going to get into the reasons why they keep doing this. They want to declare they're a sanctuary city, but they don't want to pay for their sanctuary. Very interesting. They want the rest of us around the country to finance it, so that billionaires can have cheap labor. So all of us are going to contribute. Billionaires who already don't pay taxes, so they can have cheap labor, so they can have their cheap nannies and their cheap construction workers and their cheap domestic workers in their high-rise hotels. While they tell the native population, go abort yourselves. You go get an abortion, but for these immigrants over here, we need to bring in as many as they can. So very clearly there's something, quote unquote, wrong with the native population. There's something wrong with you. So in New York City here, Fox 5, I want to show you a story here. Mayor Eric Adams, Eric Incompetent, has got a new plan, which sounds very, very much like what you heard in Chicago. Oh, we can't house them in the city. Let's go see if we can dump them somewhere else. You got to remember, once you get outside of New York City, though, it's kind of like California. When you get outside of Los Angeles, you really have a conservative state. Once you get outside of that megalopolis, the rest of the whole state is really a conservative place. To my folks who know about New York City and live in New York City and whatnot, you know that it's really, the rest of the state is really conservative. You don't have a bunch of that radical leftism going on like you do in the city, in New York City itself. Now we're talking about Rockland County. Most of you know Rockland County pretty damn well. It becomes very, very obvious what the issue is.
The migrant crisis here in the city is expanding. Many of the arrivals will be bused north and placed in hotels there. Fox 5's Richard Jokovis has the details on the Rockland County executive's response declaring a state of emergency.
The migrant crisis is overwhelming New York City, so much so that Mayor Eric Adams has decided to take his sanctuary city and expand it north.
I will fight tooth and nail with every potential power I can muster up to stop this for the people of Rockland County.
Rockland County Executive Ed Day declaring a state of emergency today after hearing that hundreds of asylum seekers will arrive in Rockland as soon as tomorrow.
I don't even know who these folks are. And you know something? Mayor Adams was the one who declared himself a sanctuary city. Well, we never declared ourselves a sanctuary county because, frankly, I'm a little smarter than Eric is because I knew what was happening here. We just can't handle it.
The city says they've made a deal with the owner of the Armani Inn and Suites in Orangeburg to house adult male migrants for up to 4 months. A total of 300 migrants will be placed between Rockland and Orange counties. Those who have lived in this community for decades say the concern is that these migrants will integrate into their community and live amongst their residents with no background checks, and they worry for their safety.
We don't know who they are, where they're coming from, have they been vetted, you know, what kind of criminal, you know, background they have. So it's, you know, it's not a good thing.
We live in a nice community. It's nice, it's quiet, our crime rate is not doing anybody any harm. I want to feel safe and secure.
In a statement, the mayor says, quote, this new voluntary program will provide asylum seekers with temporary housing, access to services, and connections to local communities as they build a stable life in New York State.
Well, ain't that interesting? So Eric says, as they build a stable life in New York State. Now, he's the one, because of his billionaire owners, who said New York City is a sanctuary city. Now he's saying, oh, well, you know, New York State. We're going to make decisions for everyone else.
As they build a stable life in New York State. But there is still a call for more transparency when it comes to the livelihood of those who call Rockland home. The mayor's office tells us tonight that they'll be the ones footing the bill for these asylum seekers headed up to Rockland and Orange counties. That includes meals and laundry for all 4 months. And out of the 60,000 migrants who have entered New York City, there is only 1/4% who are headed up here to Rockland.
That is totally irrelevant, but, you know, they got their reporter here who's speaking up for his people, so he's going to make sure he talks up for them. You got a lot of that going on. Understand something. I've told you all for over a decade here about places like New York City. New York City is like a big toilet, and it flushes its problem. It's this great big huge repository of problems, and then it flushes them down into the rest of the states. So if you live in Virginia, New York is a problem for you. If you live in the Carolinas, New York is a problem for you. Just like if you live in Oregon or Washington or Nevada or Arizona, California is a problem for you. If you live in Texas, California is a problem for you. They have these great big huge areas, just a couple of areas, but they're so over flooded and super congested that they become these super carriers of their disease. They bring their diseased ways, they bring their diseased ideologies, they bring their diseased practices, and they bring their diseased economy. New York City is not some great big, bright, sparkling city. Just going to tell you that right off the bat. It's not this great, big, bright, sparkling place like that. But there are some people there who live exceptionally well. They've gotten accustomed to the noise and the congestion and the problems and things, and they just build themselves sparkling ivory towers overlooking Central Park or overlooking the Hudson. And as far as their problems, we'll just flush them out everywhere else. We'll flush them out everywhere else. Because you got to understand, the folks who fund these kind of politicians and these kind of news reporters, the folks who fund the corporate political, corporate media sector, they don't give a damn about you and your families. They don't care if you get killed by the millions. They don't. The folks on Billionaires Row, they don't care if the rest of the population gets murdered by the millions. They will just go up into their ivory towers. They'll close the blinds because they can't hear the chaos going on down there. They'll just go up to their ivory towers and close the blinds, turn on their Bose stereo surround system, put on their favorite movie, and they'll just sit back and watch you slaughtered by the millions. It's what the filthy rich have always done. It is what the filthy rich white supremacists have always done. What do you think the plantations were? And remember, as our immortal elder Dr. John Henry Clark taught us all, slavery was a New England business, While folks sit up here and try to tell you that it was a Southern business, if you don't study New York and the New England states, recognize where your shipbuilding occurred. How did those slaves get over here on ships? Where was your shipbuilding done? In the New England states. What was the biggest slave-owning state in the beginning? New York. So you've been taught since just like Britain has attempted to sanitize its history about slavery, the North in North America has attempted to sanitize its history about slavery to the point that they've convinced you that slavery was a Southern business, without them giving you all the information and putting it in its entire context. So without that, you think the North had clean hands. Well, yeah, that plays very, very well into their hands for you to believe that. Then here come the Michael Bloombergs. And the Michael Bloombergs come along and tell you, yes, slavery was a Southern issue. We didn't have that here. We got rid of slavery early. Yeah, after you cleaned out all the earnings, after you took all the money off the table, yeah, you went ahead and declared yourself after that. Yeah, you didn't need it anymore. After you had gotten your hands drenched in blood. And then, of course, y'all got to understand that New York implemented the British strategy with slavery. Just like Britain had outlawed slavery in Britain proper, but kept their slave colonies in the Western Hemisphere up, going, and smoking. So they were freely doing business with their slave colonies. So it was okay to quote unquote outlaw it on the mainland proper. They had given reparations to all their slave owners, so they didn't lose a dime. And then they continued with the slave colonies. So it's like out of sight, out of mind. New York did the same thing. Yeah, we outlawed slavery in New York State. Yeah, while your biggest business partners and your biggest trading partners were all the slave states. Your biggest trading partners were all the slave states. So yeah, you didn't need slavery anymore because slavery is a dirty business. Y'all got to understand, slavery is a dirty business. It's a messy business. It's an unsightly business. Slavery is grimy and dirty. So you see, for the aristocracy, they want to put as much distance between themselves and the griminess that they benefit from and profit from. So just like Britain separated themselves by putting the griminess and dirtiness into the colonies in the Caribbean, in the West Indies, by putting the griminess there, America in the northern states put the griminess in the South. We'll build more industrialized areas, but for the real grimy hard work, we'll put it down there. By the way, it still continues to this very day, people. It continues to this very day. Your iPhone. Oh, I'm going to say it. Just in case you were wondering, it continues to this very day. Your iPhone in your nice, clean, manicured malls. Yes, your nice, clean iPhone. The iPhone would just want to be a paragon of simplicity and, quote, cleanness. And yet, when you know where the minerals and the components come from that they use in your iPhone. When you take a look at what's happening in these places in Africa and China, these are slave camps. These are slave camps. Dirty, grimy, toxic. Death surrounding everything. And yet they've separated it all the way on the other side of the world. So by the time it gets to your hand, everything's sanitized. No one has reminded you, or no one is forcing you to confront the real cost of doing that. That's the way aristocrats have always operated. Separate ourselves from it. And I'm just showing you it continues to this very day. The companies in America that profit off of this, hell, the companies in Asia that profit off of this, they are far separated from the dirtiness and the griminess. So the pathology has not altered. The pathology is exactly the same. Let's take you a little bit further here. We jump back over to the other American city that at one time was a basic twin city to New York, Chicago. Up there in Chicago, y'all, folks on the South Side, black folks are up in arms. Black folks are up in arms because they see what the hell these folks are doing. They're bringing in the illegals and then dumping them where black folk are. Now, there was recently a town hall meeting from the city, and the folks were there to give them an earful.
Good morning. That plan to house migrants in another vacant Southside school is not sitting well with neighbors. One older woman says perhaps it's time the city consider larger sites like McCormick Place to house migrants that would help relieve police stations, including this one. The police stations have been housing hundreds of these asylum seekers. The mayor-elect, Brandon Johnson, did address this issue this morning. He says that the city needs more federal help, and his team is working on a plan to address what he calls a crisis engineered by outside forces. He says he does not want to see one community pitted against another.
But we also have to be very clear that there are families in the city of Chicago who have been ignored for a very long time, right? We got to admit that.
Thank you, Mayor.
We have to admit that. And so I want to make sure that black families who have been left out.
Oh, so your new mayor, Brandon Johnson. I'm so glad to hear that. He's coming straight off the bat, straight out the gate. He's only got a couple of days before he's officially the mayor. He's straight out the gate, right out the gate. He's letting you know, hey, we can't forget that there have been folk in this city who have been ignored. And then he says black folk. He says black people. So y'all, let me tell you right now, we got a good sign going on here. This is a very promising sign. It's a very promising sign that your mayor-elect comes right up the middle and says, hey, black folk have been getting neglected all this time. We have folk in the city who have already been neglected. I'm so glad he said that. Brandon, I apologize for cutting you off here, Mayor-elect Brandon. I apologize for that, brother. Let me go ahead and let you finish going ahead and letting folks know exactly what the real is. So go ahead and do your thing, sir.
Against another.
But we also have to be very clear that there are families in the city of Chicago who have been ignored for a very long time, right? We got to admit that.
Thank you, Mayor.
We have to admit that. And so I want to make sure that black families who have been left out and that the brown families who want in are not seen as a divided space.
Oh, hell. Seems like I spoke a little too soon. Seems like I spoke a little too soon, didn't I? Now, he isn't going on the east side and saying that. He's not going on the north side and saying that. He's not going to prospective Lincoln Yards and saying that. He's not doing that. He's not doing that. So you got to understand, he knows what he's doing. So this is another one of these selected politicians, selected by the political machine for the purposes of selling out the people. So he just sat there. He did the Barack Obama thing. He acknowledged black people. He acknowledged black people up front. Hey, we got to say, take a look, we've been having black folk now. See? I mean, we got to admit that right there, don't we? Before he's in office. We got to support that. We got to admit that, right? So what we got to do is we got to make sure that black folk who've been here and the brown folks who want in. Wait a minute, the black folks have not been let in. What the hell are you talking about? Black people in Chicago have not been let in. They closed the damn schools and said they didn't need them. They closed the schools, said they didn't need them, and now they're moving illegals into there. So you couldn't do this for black folk who live there. You couldn't convert the schools into anything else for the black folk who live there. But for these non-black people, all of a sudden there is no budget. There are no limitations. There are no impediments. Oh yeah, and one more thing. They don't have to pass any laws. Hey, somebody tell me, where was the commission that was held? All of you need to have a commission, people. Where was the commission that was held? Where was the committee that was held? Where were the laws that they needed to pass for funding? You know, because you're supposed to have a budget for this stuff, right? So when did they have the budget meeting in Chicago to discuss how they were gonna fund this? At what point did they do the study? At what point did they do the budget reconciliation so that they could determine how they would pay for this? Because I see money moving. I see the money moving, but all of a sudden, we don't need a commission, we don't need a study, we don't need a committee, we don't need an environmental impact study, we don't have to do a survey, we don't have to run a poll, and the money is already there. Money that they told you they don't have. When you say reparations, when you say investing where black folk are, they tell you ain't no money. We ain't got it. Look you right in the face and tell you we ain't got it. When you're sitting there. So all the folk who were telling us years ago that we needed to have a study and a referendum and a committee and we need HR 40, you have been proven to be the baboonish, idiotic liars and idiots that we always knew you were. Year after year, since the COVID pandemic happened, you've been proven to be idiots year after year. It's unfortunate that it had to come to this because now we've had to wait until the damage is done. So it's unfortunate that it had to come to this. But yeah, it broke exactly the way that we said it would the whole damn time. It's now broken down exactly the way we said it would.
But we also have to be very clear that there are families in the city of Chicago who have been ignored for a very long time, right? We got to admit that.
Thank you, Mayor.
We have to admit that. And so I want to make sure that black families who have been left out and that the brown families who want in are not seen as a divided space.
Everyone, this is the community that you're pushing us over on.
This was what city officials encountered during a community meeting at South Shore College Prep. There were so many angry outbursts, they never gave their presentation.
I don't have anything else to say. I'm ticked off. You're doing this wrong. You're doing it wrong. 250 people? Give me a break.
More than 8,000 migrants have been bused to Chicago, most of them from Texas, since late August. The city has housed asylum seekers in shelters, Park District facilities, and police stations. City Hall now proposes housing 250 to 500 migrants at the shuttered South Shore High School.
It is a chair for them to sit, a place to decompress, and a place to take a hot shower. That's really what this is, and a nice meal. It's a place to decompress and not be in a police district.
South Shore High School.
Now, these two women up here, over there on the left, these two women in particular, Miss Kayla LaRiviere, and then this other woman over here, the one over there on the left. The chick over there on the left-hand side of the screen, above where it says Midday News. These two in particular. So these were their little do-girls who were sent out. And they made sure every time you see on the news now when they report on these stories, when they have these so-called department heads, you start noticing ethnicities to them and whatnot, but they're talking about black areas. Now, they're not talking about white areas. Nobody is discussing putting these illegal aliens on the Spanish side of town. They're not trying to put them on the Spanish side of town. They're trying to put them on the black side. Will someone explain to me that in a racially segregated city like Chicago, why are they not piling them up on the Latino side of town? Why are they not doing that? Why are they not putting them on the Latino side of town? Every time we look up, they're looking where black people are and saying, let's dump them there. Black folk already got to fight like hell to keep the political representation that they have. So they're like, okay, don't y'all understand when Democrats and Republicans are both working against you? Don't you all understand when your so-called Democrats and your Republicans are all working against you? Don't you recognize that? Why are they not taking them to the white side of town, or better yet, the Latino side of town? Why are they not doing that? There's plenty of room on the Latino side of town. There's plenty of room. Plenty of room. If there's room on the black side, there's room on the Latino side. There's room for them everywhere. They're telling you we're trying to dilute this area. Yeah, put them in Chinatown, put them in Russiatown. There's a whole bunch of areas they could put them in. Every time we look up, every time they talk about using one of these places, it's the black side of town they want to go to.
50 to 500 migrants at the shuttered South Stations. City Hall now proposes housing 250 to 500 migrants at the shuttered South Shore High School.
So they closed the high school for education and learning and said, we're going to make it into housing for non-black people. Don't you understand a scheme and an engineered strategy when you see one?
It is a chair for them to sit, a place to decompress, and a place to take a hot shower. That's really what this is, and a nice meal. It's a place to decompress and not be in a police district.
Despite community pushback, the city opened a vacant Woodlawn school to migrants earlier this year. South Shore residents expressed similar concerns about safety, use of their tax dollars. Many felt blindsided.
We do not hear from city officials until election time. This is insulting at its best.
49th Ward Alderwoman Maria Haddon says the city should consider housing migrants at McCormick Place, Navy Pier, or vacant big box stores so neighborhoods are not inconvenienced. Haddon says managing a few large sites would be easier than managing multiple smaller ones.
I think I got video of Miss Haddon somewhere else here, but like I say, basically they're pushing the thing around because the real thing is when the buses show up, you're supposed to turn them things around. That's what's supposed to happen there. But you got to understand, if you're going to displace a black population, you got to replace it with something. You can't take that black population away because you need an economy. So if you're going to if you're going to displace the black population, you got to replace it with something. If you're going to take them out, you got to put something else in its place. So they're now showing you, oh, if we can't get you all to have abortions enough and kill yourselves enough and give you enough bad food and bad places to live and contaminate the soil and the air, if that doesn't work enough, you know what, man, screw it. Throw the damn doors open. Bring every Mexican you can up here. Let's just dump them right where you are. We're going to do it right in your damn face. Because the people who are orchestrating this behind this, the Michael Bloombergs of the world, they're no longer front and center. The Jeff Bezoses get to keep their hands clean. The Jeff Bezoses get to keep their hands completely clean while they set these things up and instigate them, but they get to keep their hands clean. Let's go ahead and discuss another video here.
And tensions rise at a heated meeting in South Shore. Hundreds of neighbors speaking out on the city's plans to house migrants in a vacant high school there.
The plan comes as Chicago's shelter system is overwhelmed.
And the city is expecting even more asylum seekers. WGN's Dana Rebeck is live at the 3rd District Police Station tonight. Dana?
Well, again, here tonight, there are migrants inside. We're told that some of them have been staying at police stations across the city for up to a week, and that is why city leaders are looking at what they are calling respite sites. The old South Shore High School, one of them, where they want to move these migrants out of the police stations and into them. But tonight, this meeting, it did not go as city leaders had hoped, as hundreds of these angry South Shore residents sounded off in opposition. Inside South Shore International College Prep,
Excuse me, the question was asked.
Hundreds of residents gathered to hear from city leaders on a plan to move migrants to the old South Shore High School.
I think what's important is that we really establish that this is a humanitarian crisis.
Yeah, there you go, Miss Nubia Willman. Notice I was talking about her before, the mayor's office chief engagement officer. Miss Nubia Willman. And by the way, has anybody noticed you haven't heard a damn word from the Chicago Police Department, the Chicago Police Union about any of this? You notice you haven't heard a word from them about that? Not a word. Did y'all notice that?
To hear from city leaders on a plan to move migrants to the old South Shore High School.
I think what's important is that we really establish that this is a humanitarian crisis, and we're here. You're not supposed to interrupt.
You're not supposed to interrupt.
Members of Mayor Lightfoot's administration were supposed to give a presentation, but were interrupted by angry outbursts. And decided to move directly to residents' questions. One being how many asylum seekers would be housed here.
We were looking at a potential phased approach utilizing the first floor first only. What that means, you can fit up to...
Now, you notice there was a different name than what they had the first time, because the first time they had a different person's name. Now, it's Brandy Nazi, so maybe we need to Google it and see which one she actually is. But you get what they're saying here. They want to know how many folk are you planning to move there. Then she starts explaining.
Would be housed here.
We were looking at a potential phased approach utilizing the first floor first only. What that means, you can fit up to, we'd start with 250, 500.
I'm ticked off. You're doing this wrong. You're doing it wrong. 250 people? Give me a break.
We have several home-based daycares. Who are they? Who are we going to be dealing with? I'm directly across the street. I have to fear for the children that I care for.
The Chicago Police Department will put 24/7 officers at that location.
The city says...
Well, excuse me. So let me get this straight. For the illegal aliens, the Chicago Police Department is going to put 24/7 people there. And they bring out Tina Scahill, Chicago Police Department Director of Constitutional Policing. What the hell? So for the illegal aliens, now it's about constitutional policing. But they're not even citizens. No, the Constitution does not protect non-citizens. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. For the folks who tried to thread that little legal needle, you can't have a constitution that protects non-citizens. You can't have that. Now, you can have social mores that do that, but by definition, your constitution, by definition, is for the citizenry. And you take a look at what the hell she's saying here.
Department will put 24/7 officers at that location.
Okay, what does that mean? 2? Yeah, y'all never heard that office? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of offices there that you don't hear of until they ready to make a plan. When they get ready to make a plan, all of a sudden, there they are. All of a sudden, there they are. So yeah, you see, they just finished telling y'all that they don't have the money to police the neighborhoods, remember? All of a sudden, you've got unlimited money, you've got unlimited manpower, and the Chicago Police Department ain't saying a damn thing. All of a sudden, you've got unlimited resources. All of a sudden, we're hearing about nothing but unlimited resources. Ain't no limits to a damn thing when they show up here. And all of a sudden, there's no limit to the money and no need for a discussion, a study, a commission, a committee, a budget, nothing. Nothing. Don't need to do anything. Now, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Don't have to, there's no need for a powwow or anything now. We don't have to have a powwow anymore. We don't have to have a talk about it. Isn't this amazing how quickly things move when black people are targeted? Ain't that amazing how quickly things move when black people are being targeted? Which is why I've told you now for years, all of a sudden, we don't even have to have all this stuff to tell you about the city council got to get together. We got to take it to the city council. City council didn't have to be consulted over this. Hey, folks, who's running the city of Chicago? Because the Chicago City Council did not have to be consulted about this. You didn't hear the city council meeting about this. They're here to just inform you of what they're getting ready to do. No need for a vote. While every time you show up, they tell you there has to be a study, a commission, a committee, a vote, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. While they're telling you what you can't get done. We got to jump through all these hoops.
24/7 officers at that location.
The city says it must identify respite sites to relieve police stations where some 300 migrants are currently living. A mass influx with hundreds more expected to Chicago over the next several weeks.
I think it would be very fair for every homeless immigrant that you bring in, that you scoop up one of the homeless individuals in our community. I think that would be fair. And that you also provide that bed, that shower, that meal.
Local aldermen even upset.
I stand beside them, meaning my community, the 8th Ward, strongly voice my opposition.
All indications are that this is a done deal, and I think that is what's made the community even more upset about this.
Who is this guy? This Desmond Yancey. Who is this guy? I got questions about him too. Who is this?
And beside them, meaning my community, the 8th Ward, strongly voice my opposition.
All indications are that this is a done deal, and I think that is what's made the community even more upset about this.
Now, city leaders were also asked how long migrants would be staying at this respite site at South Shore High School.
For the rest of their lives. That's how long they're going to be there. They're going to be, they intend to, these are the new residents. You heard your mayor-elect. Oh, these are the new residents. These are the new residents. Hey, guess what, y'all? Next, you're going to see the city of Chicago, mark my words. Next, you're going to see the city of Chicago all of a sudden building a bunch of quote unquote affordable housing. Now, get ready for the city of Chicago to start building a bunch of affordable housing now. Now, there are some things I want you all to notice from some of these meetings here. I want you to notice some of the stuff that you see here in these meetings. Because I got to tell you, I see a lot of gray hairs. I see a lot of older people. I see a lot of grannies and great grannies in particular. Oh, I'm gonna say it. We gonna get there. We gonna get there. I'm seeing a lot of older folks up here, is what I'm trying to tell you. And what I'm saying is that over the course of the past 5 decades, we've seen a bunch of them off code as hell. Now, if we knew about the issues with Barack Obama over a decade ago, you old folks knew it too. Y'all sat there backing it and pretending along with it and playing along with it. Y'all sat there and did that because you told yourselves it doesn't matter what happens to the young folk. You're kicking the can down the road. Oh, I'm saying it. Oh, I'm saying it. You told yourselves that you were kicking the can down the road. You told yourselves that we didn't have to worry about this. That's what you told yourselves. You said this will be the young folks' issue. We ain't got to worry about nothing else. We gonna be okay. We gonna coast off into the sunset with our rickety hips and our rickety knees and our social security. We gonna be okay. Then you looked up one damn morning and yo, Lori drunk Uncle Lightfoot, you go sister girl, man, she done brought in all the damn smoke for all of y'all. She done said, yeah, let's bring it on in. I know it's a different city, but you get the idea. We bringing in all the smoke for you. What you mean, quiet retirement? Oh no, it's gonna be a thrills and chills, action-packed one. That's what it's gonna be for you. It's going to be chills and thrills for you. It's going to be an action movie for you. 70 years old me ass. Get ready for the summer blockbuster of your life. "70 years old having to make like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Yeah, you didn't think it was going to go this way. You didn't think it was going to go this way. But let's be clear. These old niggas. I said it. Who've been sitting around for decades, dancing the Dougie with Barack, while we were telling them, hey, this is off code as hell. They've been dancing the damn doo-wop with Bobby Rush for decades. Then they were doing the LGBT shuffle with Lori Lightfoot. And now they want to say something. You know why? Because let's just be totally honest. I gotta say what I got to say about these old niggas. They watched the city gut their side of town, and they didn't get mobilized, and they didn't say a damn word. They saw the city murdering young black folk in the streets, the young black children that they sat up here and squatted out during the bastard baby crack pipe era. And can we just keep it real? As long as they got themselves a settlement check, they didn't give a damn. It's like, oh, well, you killed my son. Well, at least that nigga out the way. They told themselves, we just gonna ease off over the sunset. Ain't gotta worry about nothing. Well, now they moving El Chapo into the school across the street from you. Now they yelling. 250? 500? Baby, it's gonna be more like 5,000. Not 500, it's gonna be more like 5,000. It's gonna be more like that. Don't worry about the 500. You need to be more concerned about the 5,000. Coming to an abandoned building near you. Coming to some abandoned building or strip mall near you. And I would like to tell you that it is merely relegated to that, but that actually would not be true.
It was upsetting.
Let me show you all exactly what I mean here. As a matter of fact, that actually would not be true. We ain't got to worry about the buildings anymore. Why, they've already been given primacy and preferential treatment over your parks.
It was upsetting and confusing to our children. It was obviously shocking to us as parents.
Outrage brewing from Chicago parents over the news that the Park District is rearranging activities in order to accommodate migrants.
It comes just weeks ahead of the busy summer camp season.
Tia Ewing is live on the Northwest Side with more. Tia.
Well, Don and Corey, the Chicago Park District did release a statement to us telling us that spring programs are impacted. They didn't clarify to give us more detail about summer programs, if those will be impacted. But we did speak to a mom that says her kids were forced to get out of Brands Park because the migrants are set to move in. Courtney Torsha, a single mom with two boys, ages 8 and 10, was blindsided Tuesday when her son's after-school program was shut down here at Brands Park in Avondale, and she got zero notice.
They were planning to repurpose the facility without a timeline to help house and process the asylum seekers.
It's unknown when they will move in. The Chicago Park District says, quote, in partnership with the city of Chicago's efforts to provide respite to asylum seekers, the Chicago Park District will temporarily relocate spring programming from Brands Park to alternate locations. But this.
So where the black folk are, they move them in the buildings. Where the white folk are, we giving them access to the parks. So yeah, get ready for the lynching. Get ready for the lynching. They ain't playing no games about it. They letting you know is, hey man, we doing what we gonna do. We doing what we gonna do. This is it. We're coming in, we doing what we like. What you mean a damn vote? You don't get a vote. We make the rules here. You don't get a vote. We're doing what we gonna do. We're doing what we're gonna do. There's a reason why I keep bringing this up to you here. There's a reason why I keep showing that and stuff, because I wanted to get through the people here that folks are getting real vocal now. They're getting real damn vocal. They're getting real damn vocal. And I was one of the first people to sit up here and talk about this, and I don't even live in Chicago like that, but I'm one of the first people who was saying, hey, I see what's going on.
Cheryl, tonight the city of Chicago has not said if their plans to open what they call a respite center in the former shuttered South Shore High School have been finalized. But people who live in that neighborhood made it very clear how they feel.
For city leaders who came looking for a conversation over opening the doors of a shuttered South Shore High School to migrants.
What's important is that we really establish that this is a humanitarian crisis, and we're here.
South Shore residents responded with resounding rejection.
While this crisis may constitute an emergency for the city of Chicago, it does not constitute an emergency for the South Shore community.
Incoming.
The time to be talking like this was decades ago. You gonna jump up here and then be Johnny come lately. The time to talk about this was decades ago, truth be told. The time to talk about it was then. Want to show you one more story here from Fox 32 out of Chicago. Damn, Jason's got a super roll going. I sure do. And if you agree with me tonight that an emergency for illegal aliens does not constitute an emergency for black people, give me the thumbs up in the chat room and hit the likes button. It's almost 5,000 people in here tonight. Let's get it going. Unless, of course, I've got some of the migrants in my room tonight. It could be that, too. Hey, we don't appreciate what you're saying. Okay, that might be the situation, but if you all agree, it's time to hit the likes button. It's time to throw it up.
It is insulting that you would consider such action about a forgotten community that none of you live in.
Developing tonight, outbursts and outrage at a community meeting in South Shore over a housing plan for migrants.
The debate comes as the city deals with the crisis of where to put migrants bussed in from the border.
Elizabeth Matthews is live now.
Where do you put migrants bussed in from the border? That seems to be a self-answering question. You take them back to the border.
With more, Elizabeth.
Corey and Don, contentious to say the least. This forum was a chance for city leaders to get input from the public about the old South Shore High School housing migrants. The city got their input.
A packed house at the South Shore International College Prep High School. The crowd voicing their opinion. Strong.
Boy, I'm telling you, do you see the signs up in here? Is that a brother back there with the sign? You see that? 2024. He's like, hey, I'm looking past Biden. This is in Chicago. Now, I'm from the southern United States. Dallas, Texas is my old stomping grounds. We've been dealing with this now for decades. Not years, decades. Chicago got about 3 or 4 months of it and tapping out already. How do you think we've been dealing with it down there? And you're seeing this everywhere now. You're seeing this in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, the Carolinas, Tennessee, Kentucky, St. Louis, Minnesota. You're seeing this everywhere, not just the old places that were used to be part of Mexico decades ago. You're seeing this everywhere now. They are targeting us for displacement and replacement everywhere across the board. This is ethnic cleansing American style.
The crowd voicing their opinion, strongly opposing the addition of migrants in their community.
I am just outraged. I'm outraged, and I don't understand why our community was chosen.
City representatives saying the old South Shore High School would not be a shelter, but one of 3 respite centers for the.
What? It will not be a shelter. It will be a respite center. Let me guess. You got one of these pointy-headed graduates from one of your universities, and you put them in charge of quote-unquote communications. So they went to the Joseph Goebbels School of propaganda and told you, oh, it's not a shelter, it's a respite center. What the hell is respite? For those of you who don't know what it basically means rest. It's a rest center. See, it's not a shelter. What do you do in a shelter? Oh, you rest? Well, wait a minute, hold on. Respite? Wait a minute, damn it. What do you mean? They're not sheltering, they're resting. Did you all get that? I'm white and I say so. They're not sheltering, they're resting. They're just resting. That's all. But they're also feeding them and clothing them and letting them sleep there. That's shelter. No, it's not a shelter. It's just a resting center. They're just resting. Until when? Until we can get you out of this room. Who's paying for their rest? The black citizens.
Migrants to temporarily sleep, eat, and take a shower, starting with about 250 people taking up the building's first floor. This is a way for the city to get the current 300 migrants with about 203 respite centers for the migrants to temporarily sleep, eat, and take a shower.
A place to temporarily eat, sleep, and take a shower. That's what you call a home. But even if you want to call it a shelter, will someone please tell me what is the difference between a shelter and a, quote, respite center? How is a respite center not a shelter? What's the difference? You just described a shelter. They literally just described a shelter and told you, oh, no. This isn't a shelter. This is a respite center. You see, those other places where people get to eat and sleep and take a shower, those are shelters. This one, oh, we made it out of an old school, so this is a respite center, don't you know? How many other respite centers do you have in the city of Chicago that are currently operating? How many? Show me all the currently operating respite centers in the city of Chicago. I'd like to know.
Starting with about 250 people taking up the building's first floor. This is a way for the city to get the current 300 migrants out of the police stations. Questions were asked, but answers hard to hear, interrupted by the upset crowd. Before the meeting, a small protest of South Shore neighbors demanding the energy put into the migrant issue be put into their neighborhoods.
It is a slap in the face that we as citizens of the United States of America do not have the resources and support, but you're going to bring people who are not citizens here in our community, in our buildings that we pay taxes for, that you took away from us. Yeah. That is completely unacceptable. We are in a humanitarian crisis right now. The black people in Chicago are bleeding on the streets.
Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson had this to say about the migrant crisis.
We have a responsibility to make sure that families who are seeking love and support here in the city of Chicago and throughout the state of Illinois.
What? Is this nigga for real? Chicago, stand up. Is this nigga for real? Is this a real nigga up here? Did I just hear that? Did you just hear what the hell he just said? Let me back that up one more time.
We have a responsibility to make sure that families who are seeking love and support here in the city of Chicago and throughout the state of Illinois, that they are not just welcome, but they are serviced.
People who are seeking love and support. What the hell is this? Somebody tell me, whose nigga is this? I ain't never heard. Barack Obama ain't never tried. I ain't never heard nothing like this in my life. I've never heard this. He's talking about we need to bring that the illegals are here looking for love and support. Who volunteered black folk on the south side? Let me tell you something here. Brandon J. His last name started with J. That must stand for booty juice. Let me tell you something here. Fruit Booty Johnson. Nigga, Chicago ain't got no love? What the hell are you talking about? Love and support. The city of brotherly love is down south in Philadelphia. Fruit Booty Johnson? What the hell is he talking about? Chicago ain't got no love? I'm Shreveport, Louisiana. Every time I come to Chicago, I ain't starting no trouble, but I know where the hell I'm at. Chicago ain't never been no city got no love like that. What are you talking about? Anybody who comes to Chicago, you better come do your business and move on about it. Chicago ain't got no love for nobody. What is he talking about? Chicago's not San Francisco. Chicago's the city of Al Capone, damn it. Chief Keef. R. Kelly. But my point is, Chicago ain't got no... They coming. We bringing y'all to Chicago. We need all the people who are coming here. The people who are coming here seeking love and support and to make sure they are serviced. That's what he said. The folks looking for love and support need to be serviced. Is this nigga running the mayor's office or is he running a bathhouse?
Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson had this to say about the migrant crisis.
We have a responsibility to make sure that families who are seeking love and support here in the city of Chicago and throughout the state of Illinois, that they are not just welcome, but they are serviced.
Now, you notice that you got New York City speaking for the entire state of New York. I want y'all to notice that. New York City is speaking for the whole, New York City's policy for just their city. They're now saying, but the whole state of New York needs to get on board with our policy in New York City. Then you go over there to Chicago, and the mayor of Chicago is saying that what they're doing in Chicago, well, the whole state of Illinois needs to get on board, even though Chicago does not run Illinois. And this reject from the Village People or a Frank Ocean album sat up here and told you that they are just seeking love and support in the city with no pity. Everybody knows Chicago's rep. We ain't gonna let you speak on Chicago like that. Chicago ain't got no love. Chicago ain't got no love, and they ain't got that kind of love to begin with. Chicago ain't got no love. Who the hell is he speaking for? Who is he speaking for? Talking about they're just looking for love, and it is our responsibility. Whose responsibility, nigga? Is you gonna sit up here and burp the kids and rub these people's feet? Love and support. Since when did we become responsible for loving and supporting everybody around the damn world and non-citizens? Just because him and drunk Uncle Lightfoot like to have their LGBT prom night, that doesn't obligate the rest of us to it. What the hell? Y'all, I had to stop and do a damn triple take on that. Love and support? What the hell kind of rationale is that? How do you guarantee we all gonna love and support them? For what? We don't know none of them. What your Puerto Rican man Big Pun say, man? I don't know you, man. Y'all just got off a bus. I don't know you, and you ain't even supposed to be here. There's not opportunities where you come from. Then you stand and fight and make them. You got a nice place to land because black folk in America stood and fought. We didn't all go flooding across the border into Canada, and it wasn't like Canada had a bunch of love for us neither. And we didn't all go flooding across the border into Mexico neither. We stood here. We stood in the streets, not for a year, not for a couple of years. We took out here for decades. Now, after we stood for decades, the folk who are professional track stars running from one place to another, I can't trust somebody who abandoned his home country. I can't trust you. I can't trust somebody who you ran from where your blood and your soil is from. You think that little of South America? You think that little of Central America? You think that little of Mexico? And you think I'm gonna expect you to have my back sitting across the street? We didn't ask you here. We didn't call for you. There's no need. Y'all better get that big ass Greyhound bus to bust you in the middle of Interstate 65 and turn on back around. No, do not get off of that exit. Just bust this U. Matter of fact, you can go straight across the median. That emergency vehicles only part for the median, yeah, you can turn right there. That's you all day, right there. Y'all, this nigga said love and support.
Brandon Johnson had this to say about the migrant crisis.
We have a responsibility to make sure that families who are seeking love and support here in the city of Chicago and throughout the state of Illinois, that they are not just welcome, but they are serviced.
Nigga, what? Nigga, what? He's not even in office yet. Do you understand? He's not even in office yet. He's not even actually in office yet. And he's telling you, we need to love and support. What the hell? Now, do these politicians ever go somewhere else and tell white folk, you know, you need to love and support black people here? We need you all to love and support black folk is what we need. Did Barack Obama ever go to white folk pleading for love and support? You know, it would be really, really nice if you all would love and support black people here. That's what we need to have. We need to have love and support. Can we do that? When the hell's the last time that happened? You know what it sounds like to me? It strikes me more like this. This is what it sounds like to me. This man talking about love and support sounds like this. I need all of you out there to understand. It's gonna be a long trip here. And there's some folks who are coming. And I know some of you might feel some kind of way because it's been a while since you had some loving. But I need you to open up your heart. Your mind. Most importantly, open up your wallet and your front door. Can you feel this? They just looking for a little love, baby. How you gonna say no? Cause you know we have a responsibility. I tell you, we are obligated to satisfy all they need. Don't make us big. You know what I want to do? I'm urging everybody on the south side. I've got to have you. Migrants. What I want y'all to do here is open up your door. Centimeter by centimeter. And inch by inch. Open it up. It is so important that you understand this. Tell them, come on over here, baby. Let me love you down. Let me love you down. This is Chicago. Yeah, I know you done heard a lot of bad things about us, but we here to fix this, baby. Come on over here. Let me show you what we're working with. Yeah, bring your kids, baby. We'll feed and clothe them kids. We'll take care of all that. Because this is the place where we give you love and support. Oh, we're going to do it. Love and support. We ain't going to make just love. We're going to make love and support. We're going to make it feel. Oh, y'all, the whole family. Bring the whole damn family. We don't want to leave nobody out. My name is Brandon B.J. Johnson. Yeah, that's what we doing. Because we just want to love and support you, baby. Love and support. All they looking for. It's a little bit of loving on the south side. Bring them kids. Bring your folks. We got you. I got you, boo. I got you. That's a wrap for Chicago. That's a wrap for Chicago. I'm going to get copyright struck to hell on that one. So, y'all, I'm going to get copyright struck to hell. So, forget about this one, but yeah. Yeah, that's a wrap. Forget Chicago. The city with no pity is now the city of love and support.
We have a responsibility to make sure that families who are seeking love and support here in the city of Chicago and throughout.
I want to love you down. My name is Brandon B.J. Johnson. I just want to love you down, baby. That's all I'm trying to do. I know they ain't been loving you right where you come from, but you need to let me do it. You need to let me do it now is what you need to do here. So don't trust nobody else. That's what you need to do here. Let me do what I do. Yeah, I know Lori wasn't loving you right. Lori wasn't loving you right, but the problem was you wasn't getting loved by the right one. Now that I'm here, I'm gonna love you right. Man, if this ain't a damn joke, with Lori Lightfoot, we needed to wait to figure out what the hell was gonna go on. This nigga didn't even make it to City Hall before we found out what the hell was happening with him. He didn't even make it there. He didn't even make it there. Can y'all imagine what the next 4 years in Chicago gonna be like? Can you imagine what the next 4 years in Chicago are gonna be like? Man, look here. I don't even live there and this nigga done drove my blood pressure up. Oh no, I'm gonna be bombing on his ass henceforth and forevermore. I'm gonna be bombing on him till Jesus come back. Chicago, where do y'all find these niggas? Chicago, where do y'all find these niggas? Man, look here, let me go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break and come back with y'all phone calls here because this is outrageous. It's out of control. It's out of control. Let me go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. Before I do, I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat, Venmo. My man Black Logic, FBAB1 Empowerment is in action. Absolutely, you better believe that. Thank you very much here. Level up. Man, I'm not the fool. That nigga there talking is the fool. I'm just reporting the news. It's out of control. We're going to go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we'll take your phone calls and more. This is the Black Channel.
Spirit of 1811 Publishing presents, in a world driven by fear and hatred, lurks a fierce assassin, the Tarpon. Armed with an insatiable appetite for death and destruction, the Tarpon's mission is to target and eliminate anyone who stands in the way of white supremacy. Enter Occam Jeffers, the fearless counter-racist hitman, whose mission is to hunt down and eliminate the Tarpon once and for all. But the Tarpon is cunning and ruthless. Will Occam be able to stop the Tarpon's deadly plot, or has he finally met his match? The ultimate fight to the death begins now. God Love Us, a novel by Josiah J. Starr. In stores May 22nd, 2023. Everywhere books are sold.
Having computer problems? Is your PC or Mac running slow? Need help building a gaming PC? Having problems with your Apple or Android device? Call or text Fix Too Fast. We can fix common and uncommon computer software issues remotely, anywhere, nationwide, from the comfort of your home or business. Are you having hardware issues with your PC or Mac? Ship it to us and we will ship it back fixed. Call 1-877-412-9890 or text 513-440-1646 to speak to a technician. Please visit our website at www.fixtoofast.net.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Natural Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN KIN.com.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. My name is Joe Jackson. I'm a foundational Black American, and I entered the field of IT with the goal of helping the family globally. The industry's been changing, and I've learned a lot. But how did we get here? How do we navigate issues we face in the workplace? How can we get our house in order? Read The Concept and Intricacies of Being Black in IT, now on Amazon, as well as the best-selling Guide to Being Black in IT. Go to beingblackInIT.com.
More Threads, a brand owned by a descendant of Black American freedmen, was created to uniquely address Black American history and contributions that have been intentionally hidden and suppressed. Use their apparel and more to learn and share the Black American history of Black inventions, heroes, towns, Black business districts, and more. Sign up and support not only a Black-owned business, but a movement at www.morethread.co.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. We're going to go ahead and open up the telephone lines here for a little bit. We'll take some of your phone calls. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the Blackest Radio program in existence. We are discussing the illegal alien tidal wave. We've been talking about Chicago and New York, but this is basically a problem for everywhere. Basically been a problem for everywhere. If you do call in, please make sure you keep your comments brief, but we definitely want to hear from you. We'll go ahead and get to the phone lines here. Let's go ahead and see if we can get caller from area code 757. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Tanya from Virginia Beach.
Tanya from Virginia Beach. What's on your mind?
It's not lost to me in all these conflict states that every mayor, every municipality speaking is black. I feel like they set up across the world, across the United States, all these states that have black mayors, and they're dealing with all these problems, and they put them up front. We haven't seen a white face in none of these places talking about this problem. They put us in front, and they make us the black sheep of the problem.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it there is that, look, they understood the strategy is not going to work now by sending white politicians out there because it'll be too blatant. So what they do is they send black politicians, these deviants, individuals who are sexual deviants, social deviants, and then they send them in with the hidden agenda. That's what they do. They cut their teeth with Barack Obama, and they've been forwarding it ever since. Now, they've been kind of isolated in some areas, but they're doing it. You take a look at D.C., you take a look at New York, you take a look at Houston, you take a look at Chicago. We are specifically targeted. So they put in a quote-unquote black leader, and then that black leader goes to work for everybody except black people. So, yes, that is exactly the strategy they're using now. We need a black face to forward the white supremacist agenda. And in this case, in Chicago, you went from drunk Uncle Lightfoot to B.J. Johnson. That's what you end up with over here. So you got rid of her, and everything you didn't like about her, now you got it again with him. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 708. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
TBA, this is James from Chicago.
James from Chicago, South Side, West Side?
South Side.
What's on your mind, brother?
I got to say, first off, excellent broadcast that you're doing so far. You're breaking the subject down very well. But Johnson needs to really be careful because Lori Lightfoot's loss is a big deal. And a lot of people probably are not trying to talk about that because it makes the Democrats look bad. But she suffered a historical loss. She didn't even make it to the runoff. And Johnson didn't win that by that much at all. He didn't even win by a full point. He almost lost to Paul Vallas. So he's going to be a one-term mayor if he doesn't get it right. And he hasn't even been sworn in yet. And he's already given the same type of talking points that Lightfoot was given. He's trying to say that he doesn't agree with how she handled it. But then he's pretty much saying that he's going to handle it the same way.
I don't agree with how she handled it, but then can't tell you what he would do differently.
Exactly.
That's the thing I want y'all to understand. That's why I say,
like
when I talk about these right-wingers and whatnot, when they say they don't support David Duke, they didn't agree with David Duke, they didn't like David Duke, don't vote for David Duke. I'm like, okay, that's great and everything. I just want to ask you one question. Which one of David Duke's policies or positions do you disagree with, Mr. Republican? And when you ask that question, all of a sudden the room's going to get quiet. So when these black politicians sit up here and tell you, oh, I don't agree with what they're saying, this, that, and the other, the next question you need to ask, hey, which one of their positions which position do you disagree with? And then all of a sudden it's going to get real quiet. So no, just get her out the chair so I can steer the bus over the cliff. I'll let you have the last word.
No, I want to say I'm glad. Shout out to the black folks in Chicago because I'm very proud of the fact that we're waking up and you're seeing this uproar of the fact that black people are getting on code and we're not allowing this. And so if Johnson thinks that this is going to go smooth, he's going to try, but it's not going to go smooth with the black folks in Chicago. And thank you for taking my call, Jason. B1.
B1 as always. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 928. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, this is King of Dinosaurs. I'm calling from Chicago.
All right, King of Dinosaurs from Chicago, south side or west side?
I'm calling from the north side.
Oh, boy, he moved on up. All right, brother, what's on your mind?
I do think you're just, as what the new elected mayor is saying, that, yeah, you are, I think the message that you're spewing out tonight is wrong. You're trying to
where are your people from? Where are your people from?
Why do you always say that?
Because every time you call in, I want to make sure folks remember where your people are from. Now, remind everybody where your people are from.
Nigeria.
All right, now you can go say whatever else you want to say now about how, quote, wrong we are. Now you can finish.
Okay. First off, I think you just don't know the history of the migrants that are coming in. I really do think you should educate your black callers about what's going on in Venezuela right now. It's terrible. And if you really educate your callers, the black people there, understand that a lot of the people coming in, they're not from Mexico. They're from primarily Venezuela. And things are just very bad there. And I just think that you just try the message that you're spewing is just wrong. I mean, all they're doing, the mayor, all they're doing is just placing those migrants there in a specific high school so they could start a new life.
There's literally thousands of them there now. How are they how are they the responsibility of the black citizens of Chicago?
Well, all of this whole the migration, it's been going on for like the past 6 months.
Okay, actually, sir, it's been going. It's been going on for the last 60 years. You're not going to sit here and lie. It's been going on for the last 60 years. I will ask again: how are these people having trouble in Venezuela or Brazil? Suddenly, an obligation on the black folk who are the underclass in Chicago. Second time.
Well, black people have been in underclass they've had so much opportunity to move on up and build themselves up, and they have not done that at all for the past 30 plus years, so it's on them. Basically, what these people are coming in.
Okay, so why are you not saying that these people need to stay where they are and build themselves up where they are? They haven't built themselves up in the last 70 years.
Where? What are you talking about?
In Venezuela, in Brazil, in San Salvador, in El Salvador, in Mexico. They haven't built themselves up in those places in the last 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, 100 years. Why are you not giving the same philosophy to them?
I'm not really focused on those.
Sir, I ask again, since you made the observation, well, black folk in Chicago, they've had all this time to build themselves up, and allegedly they haven't done it, which is not true, because if black folk hadn't done it, they wouldn't be bringing these illegals where black folk are, because otherwise there would be nothing to bring them to. But again, if that's the standard that you have for black folk in Chicago, why do you not also have the same standard for all these illegal aliens coming to Chicago, that they need to build themselves up where they came from?
They can't do it in their country. It's basically corrupt, completely corrupt in their country right now.
America is completely corrupt, sir.
Basically, I can guarantee you those Venezuelans who come to this country will definitely progress much better.
Sir, America is completely corrupt. America is so corrupt, in fact, that you can have illegals come to America and not get kicked out. But if black folk tried to go to their countries illegally, you'd get jailed or shot.
And why is that? Because black people in America are not respected.
Because America is more corrupt than the places those people came from, and they were citizens there. So why are those citizens of those less? Why are those citizens of those less corrupt countries, sir? Why are those citizens of those less corrupt countries not staying in their home country and building up their home country?
Because their lives are in danger.
Your lives are in danger. Black people's lives are in danger in America. They just lynched a brother in the Jordan Neely. They just lynched him on the subway in New York.
You're talking about minute things that don't. It's like less than 1%. Thousands of people are getting.
Boy, y'all, tether stumbling, y'all. Tether stuttering, y'all. Tether stuttering.
I just think that you're just dividing people. That's all. The message that
yes, sir.
We need the whole story.
We need to divide on-code people from off-code people. You're absolutely right. I am absolutely dividing people. Yes, I'm dividing the on-code from the off-code. Absolutely.
Well, they're actually helping a lot of the migrants in Little Village.
But they're not helping us. Illegal aliens don't help anybody except the rich who are looking for cheap labor. They don't help the society. There's never been a society in the world that was helped by illegal aliens.
Well, I can guarantee you that the Venezuelans that come to this country will provide and be much better citizens than the black Americans in Chicago.
Well, you know what? You're a much better American than you are a Nigerian.
What you talking about?
Because you're a much better American than you are a Nigerian. You're a pathetic Nigerian. Nigeria is being overrun by the whites and the Asians, and you're over here cowering and hiding.
I'm not cowering or hiding. I was born here, so I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Not with that accent, you ain't.
Well, you're just wrong, okay? As I stated before,
a guy who gave up and surrendered his birthright is trying to lecture us on how to give up and surrender ours. See, this is why we can't listen to the tether class. He's already whored himself out and sacrificed himself and his home, his birthplace and his home birthright. Now, the only thing he can sell us is, well, you need to give up yours. Just because you're a person with no scruples and no home doesn't mean that we want to join you.
Well, black people have neglected their communities over the past 50 years.
We neglected it so bad that you ran to a black city in Chicago.
What you talk? I live in a predominantly diverse.
Sir, it was illegal for you. It's diverse because we gave you the ability to go there and not get lynched. So no, sir, it's quote diverse because of us. Sir, it was illegal for you to even come over here before the 1960s.
I was born here. I'm not illegal.
It was illegal for your people to even come here before the 1960s. Yeah. He wants to leave out that little fact. Nigga, you didn't have the right to even stand on this soil before black folk, the descendants of the slaves, gave you the ability and luxury to do so. You'd be over there in Nigeria making Niger music in your bedroom on some pots and pans, but you wouldn't be doing anything else.
That's a different era. You're talking about a different type of black.
Sir, I'm talking about 2018. I'm not talking about 1918.
A different type of black people gave us immigrants opportunities here, not today's black people.
Where are those? Who are those different people? Because it damn sure wasn't you.
Well, I mean, one person just said that.
Yeah, it damn sure wasn't you. It wasn't you or your parents. So it wasn't you. So if it wasn't us, who the hell? If it wasn't us, who the hell was it?
A different generation, the generation of baby boomers.
Sir, it's still our people, none of yours. And we are still in the streets. We are still
lazy. They don't do anything.
And if first of all, even if that's not true, but even if it were, what are your people proud of for you fleeing over here?
Oh, we are definitely much more successful than most black Americans.
You're not successful you weren't successful in Nigeria.
Well, we're definitely successful here in America.
Yes, because we gave you the ability to succeed in America. In Nigeria, you haven't succeeded at anything except being track stars.
Why are you constantly bringing Nigeria? I don't know what.
The tether is stuttering, boys. He's getting real nervous. He's getting flustered. Why you gotta bring up Nigeria? Because you're Nigerian.
All I know is that you don't
want to rep your own lineage. Isn't that pathetic? Because you see, I'm not going to stop repping mine. You're sitting up here trying to put distance between yourself. Trying to put distance between yourself and your lineage. We're not putting distance between us and ours.
But this is about Nigeria. There's not a huge influx of Nigerian immigrants.
Actually, there is a huge there is a huge influx of Nigerians. As a matter of fact, Nigerians are one of the largest classes of illegal aliens. Anybody in New York can show you that. Nigerians are a huge number of illegal aliens. I mean,
it's extremely hard for Nigerians right now to immigrate to the United
States.
No,
it isn't.
By far.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
No,
yes, it is.
It's not.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Sir, they come over here, they overstay they come over here and overstay their visas, and they all congregate in New York City because New York City will not target them for removal.
And that was the past. Right now,
sir, that's the present. That's the here and now and the present today, which is why you have so many Nigerian tethers come over here talking about their college students. They come over here with a visa. They come over here claiming that they're medical students, and then they overstay their visas and they come to see their family and overstay their visas and never leave.
In any case, I really do.
Wow, y'all know that. You see that right there? Well, you know I see what it is right here. Okay, here's what I want you to do. Go grab you some Teflon pans and get some Jollof and have a good Sunday. Mix some rice-a-roni with the Jollof and do that. Why you got to bring Nigeria into it? Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to bring Nigeria into this? Akata? Why must you bring Nigeria into this? Cause you talking about black folk in America, I'm repping the soil. You running from yours. I claim Nigeria. Yes, I do. You claiming Nigeria from the north side of Chicago. He's claiming Lagos from Lincoln Yards. He's claiming Lagos from Lincoln Park. I rep Lagos. Sitting right down there by the big silver bean on the riverfront. I'm repping Lagos. He's like, I'll rep Lagos as long as I can do it from 8,000 miles away. I'll rep Nigeria as long as I can rep it from the other side of the world. I don't want to rep Nigeria in Nigeria. As long as I can rep Nigeria anywhere but Nigeria, big N up. Oh yes, we are proud Nigerians. We are proud Nigerians. Can I need a ticket on American Airlines? Yes, I will go to Chicago. I will go to Minnesota. I will go to, Nevada. I'll go anywhere. Can you get me up out of here? Yeah, I will fly the plane. I'll fly the plane. We need to go. We need to go now. Then he gets over here what we provided for him. This is why you don't want the tethers coming over here anymore, because they get here and then they start telling you about how great they are. The only thing you are great at is running from white folk and running from each other. You ain't great at doing nothing else. If that was part of your character, we would be seeing it where you came from. You got the character to build from. First of all, you ain't built nothing. He's up there in some rinky-dink ass apartment on the north side, because remember, he called in before. He's built nothing but telling us that him being able to pay his rent is building. No, true story. He says him being able to pay his rent on the north side is building. This is why we don't want them over here. He pays his rent. I'm so much better than you, Akata. You are trying to divide people. You damn right I am. That is wrong. That is wrong. You niggas. Why'd you make it hard on us? I'm calling the witch doctor on you. Caller Miracle 646, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Onan from Queens.
Onan from Queens. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so first off, that Nigerian guy is tripping. You know, if it wasn't for foundational Black Americans fighting for the right for him and his family to even be here, he wouldn't be up there in Chicago, you know, doing whatever he does. I don't know, but, you know, it's crazy. It's like, yo, we put our neck on the line for these tethers to come here and make something out of their life. And this is the way that they treat us. It's like they turn up their ass, you know. And it's like they have no sense of grace or no tact or anything like that.
Well, let me explain to you.
Migrant crisis.
Let me explain to you what it is about that. You see, I can respect. This is a difference in culture. Let me explain to y'all what this means. This is a difference in culture. Jason, what do you mean by culture? You see, among us here in America, among the freedmen, foundationals, among us, it is our culture to stand. That is what it means to be a part of our culture. We taught the world how to resist and overthrow oppression. That's our culture. Our culture is not getting 5 white folk and putting them on our backs and walking around and letting them cheese. That isn't our culture. Our culture is resistance. Our culture is justice. See, you don't see that over there. The white folks show up and they all get together. Hey, we dance. They come over here and we looking at them crazy like, hey, do you see the white folk, they dancing? Why you not dancing? Because that's not our culture. It is not our culture to buck dance. And another thing is that we have a culture of being riders. We have a culture across the board of being riders. So you see, as riders from the South, I recognize riders from the North. And riders from the North recognize riders in the West. When South Central took to the streets after the murder of George Floyd wasn't killed in L.A., but they took to the streets on GP. George Floyd wasn't killed in Atlanta, but they took to the streets on GP. George Floyd wasn't killed in New York, but they took to the streets on GP. We recognize riders. When we congregated in Shreveport, you recognize riders. You got respect for that. We recognize when they got together in Dallas. Peace to the Saints. And I'm not talking about the football team. So you see, we have a culture of doing that. Nobody went coast to coast. It wasn't some person who went from one city to another and organized that. That was spontaneous. The reason it was spontaneous is because that's who we are. We riders. That's what we do. Yeah. Nobody had to tap me on the shoulder and say, go set the captives free and bail out the soldiers who were in jail. Nobody had to tap me on the shoulder and do that. I got to work, and other folk got to work with me. That's who we are. That's our culture. You couldn't do that in Nigeria. You couldn't get 10 of them to get together and do that. And we got together nationwide. That's our culture. You couldn't do that in Chad or Kenya. That's our culture. He's trying to project our culture onto himself when his whole life is a study in cowardice and running. It's our culture to do that. So we have a culture of being riders, which means that we don't have any, we are riders, not runners. Y'all can trademark that. We riders, not runners. So the runners come over here amongst the riders. Yo, Akatas, you need to listen to us. I can't listen to a nigga with his track shoes sitting here smoking. He been running so hard. I can't listen to you. I ain't built to run. I'm built to ride. I'm built to ride. I'll listen to riders. I don't listen to runners. I'll let you have the last word.
Facts. No, it's a fact. It's like what Carter G. Woodson once said. He was like, if you train a horse as to its place in the water, then you don't have to pull its reins to get there. You know what I mean? Like the horse will go to its spot at the water by itself. And that's what I believe a lot of these migrants, it's like they already know the name of the game. You know what I mean? So it's like as long as they don't ruffle any feathers, they just come in and get their bag, you know, and they stay away from us, then they all set. And they, you know, they're about to figure out that that's not the way it goes down. But I'm going to land my plane there, so be one.
Be one, brother. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 626. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Logical Facts, Mr. Black.
All right, Logical Facts. What's on your mind?
Well, here, I got a couple things. One thing is, primarily the thing is, give them an inch, they bring in millions. That's the example that's primarily here. We should never have allowed this from the get-go. This goes all the way back to Clinton and all that, even before that, going back to the Civil Rights Movement. But, you know, the big thing with this is that a lot of these people, like the countries that were mentioned, Guatemala, Brazil, Venezuela, this is where the United States was trying to run coups. Remember, Bolsonaro, where did he go? When he left Brazil, where did he go? He came to the United States. Why is it that someone who's a supposed evil person that we were supposedly supposed to despise coming right over here to the country where we are? This is the way that they want to run it. Those people were trying to, they were doing all kinds of stuff to overthrow the governments there. And then now they allowed them to say, well, hey, you know what? We can't do anything down there anymore. So why don't you guys come up here? And now they can do this shit here.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole point is to create chaos, create displacement, and then bring the folks and drop them here. You've seen it after all these conflicts. You saw it after the Vietnam War. You saw it after the Korean War. You saw it after the Gulf War. You saw it in the 90s with the former Czechoslovakia, with the Serbians. You saw them bring a bunch of them over there. Hell, they even dropped them off in little old Shreveport, Louisiana. There's a bunch of white folk now, a bunch of white Serbians. But back in the 90s, they dropped them off in my hometown of Shreveport. You saw it again after Afghanistan. You're seeing it again now with the Ukraine. So every time you turn around, they go destabilize these places, and then they start bringing the citizens, those foreigners, over here and drop them off, but they target black folk. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller code 229. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, brother. My name is Rob from Valdosta.
Rob from Valdosta, you need to get closer to your phone. What's on your mind?
Two things. Just want to say, I thank you before for using your gift the way you do. You just proved that you could be the most famous DJ in the world or whatever. But if they living in the old school now, their kids gonna be going to the new school. And that dude that was giving the speech that you showed, I can't see his hairline. Where that nigga from?
Good questions there. I'm not really sure where, to be totally honest. That's what I'm saying. But for all of them, we need to ask a lot more questions. So I'm not sure where he's from, but I know where the hell he's going. Crazy town. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller code 469. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Thomas calling from Dallas, Texas.
Thomas from Dallas. What's on your mind?
Jason, man. We at it again with these folks. Now, in Chicago, they closed those black schools down because of a budget, so-called budget. They couldn't afford to keep those black schools open. But all of a sudden, you bring in immigrants over 200, 500 to put in those same schools. I wonder how they came up with the money. No study. With black reparations, we got to have a study. We got to have a debate. We got to have a plan. But all of a sudden, you can drop 500 to 200 immigrants on black Americans. And what black people ought to do in that neighborhood, this is what I want y'all to do, is find 200 black homeless people and take them to that school and make them house black people first. Black first. That's a shame before God that they doing this to these black people in this neighborhood. Shut it down. And black folks, if you don't shut that school down, it'll be your fault. Get out there and protest. Get in front of that school. Bring black homeless people to that school and make them house black people first. This is a shame before God, man. It's not making any sense that they doing this to black people in their own community.
Well, it certainly does make sense, actually. It's all part of the plan. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. You see, they're pushing everybody on that south side. So the worker class that they want to exploit, they're putting them on the south side. They're putting them on the south side. Let me get caller from area code 901. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Rodney Fisher from Memphis Mainstream Media. The last time I spoke to you was this time last year when you had Judge Joe Brown on. And his race for running for mayor. And this right here, the conversation you're having tonight is very relevant. Because I'm amazed to see this city council that you had on here and all these old niggas, as you say, they're speaking up now when they should have been speaking up. And they should have been speaking up before Biden even got in office. But I'm looking at them now, and they got so much to say. And the only thing we can say now is, I told you so. And my problem is, I'm tired of saying I'm told you so. And I'm looking for black empowerment and production within our community.
Well, eventually at some point, you have to have a point where the consequences happen. I said this a decade ago, and I understand folks didn't like it, and I understand because I wasn't cool on it either. But we can't keep yelling that the sky is going to fall, and that son of a gun don't fall. If we say, if you all don't change, the sky going to fall, at some point, brother, it's got to fall. And when it does, it's unfortunate because now you've entered a worst case scenario. It's a whole lot easier to deal with this before the damn thing falls. That would be a lot easier. Mm-hmm. But in our situation, unfortunately, you got a lot of folks, they've been sitting back cruising. They got complacent. They were fighting for a different type of freedom. They wanted freedom to socialize. They wanted freedom to go where white folks shop. They wanted freedom to chase interracial sexual access. They wanted freedom to get the white folks drugs. They wanted to get the real good drugs. So that's what they were fighting for. We're fighting for something different. And we told them the sky is going to fall. Hey, that son of a gun is falling. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller Miracle 706. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Bomani from Augusta, Georgia.
All right, Bomani from Augusta. What's on your mind?
Hey, I love the broadcast, love everything. I agree with 100% of what you're saying, but I do have a dilemma, and I was calling to ask a question. I'm a general contractor. I have my own business. I've been in business for about five years, and a lot of the people that I work with happen to be Hispanic. Now, I'm the one who writes the checks, but I have a dilemma because a lot of times those are the guys that I have to hire. It's a lack of, I hire some brothers too, but it's a lack of skill sometimes. And that's why I don't hire as many brothers as I want to. But how do you feel about that? Is that an opportunity for us to come up in a capitalistic type of way, which is kind of messed up, but I don't know, is it? And I really have a dilemma with that, and I wanted to ask you that.
Let me, as a person who deals with those kind of things myself, I want to explain something to you. Just keep this in mind. It is a foolish business owner who is a short-sighted business owner. Now, what you just described, is that a good long-term strategy and good long-term practice, or is that just a good short-term practice?
No, I mean,
Brother, that's a simple question. Is what you just described a good, sound, long-term practice, or is that simply a short-term tactic? Which is it?
I'm stumped.
Yeah, you're not going to be in business for very long, and if you are, you'll just be the last one standing because you don't make very good long-term decisions. If you actually think that those folks are coming over here to enhance your business, you're out to lunch for life.
No. And what you're saying, I'm not saying that's not. No, what I'm saying is,
brother,
I have a lack of.
Okay, listen to what
I'm telling you.
Listen to what I'm telling you, sir. Listen to what I'm saying to you, and get this through your thick head. Every time you keep doing that, just understand you are promoting their long-term interests. Now, if you think that their long-term interests and your long-term interests can coexist, then you need some heavy psychotropic drugs. Now, that's what I will tell you.
No,
if you think supporting them supports your long-term interests, if you think that this is something you're going to be able to keep up for 20, 30 years and that they're not going to just turn around and X you out, then you haven't been paying attention.
And I see it. I see it happening.
Then you will choose what you invest in. If the older fellas not doing it, you go to the younger ones. If the younger ones not doing it, you go to the teenagers or the middle schoolers. But these folk here, all you're doing is floating them socioeconomically until they can get into a position to remove you.
And I'm doing that, brother. I'm training the younger ones. But
I did not say
it.
it will be easy. I didn't say that.
No, it won't.
It would be hella difficult. It would have been a whole lot easier if these old niggas who are doing all this damn yelling now had been doing this back when we used to have vocational skills training. It would have been better and nicer if they had done it then. We got to deal with where we at, not where we wish we were.
Right.
Make your choice. Let me tell y'all something. You ain't gonna sit up here and pull that entrepreneurship and Jason, I'm trying to make a buck thing. Y'all got to understand. I can understand some of that going here or there. I can understand that. But when you're talking about long-term expenditure, if you're talking about large expenditures or long-term expenditures, you got to be very judicious in how you disseminate those funds. Because what the bad guys, the Brandon Johnsons and all the folks supporting him, what they're depending on is that when these folks get over here, you ain't gonna have no choice but to fund them. They gonna put them up in the schools they took from you. They gonna put them up for a couple months, and then eventually you're gonna have to bring them into the economy. And then once they're in the economy, now they can start growing roots and get a foothold in the economy. And by getting a foothold in it, they're no longer collaborating with you. Now you become their target. So now all of a sudden the money you was bringing in, now these guys are all going to get together and gang up on you. They won't do it tomorrow. No, they'll do it in 5 years. And for anybody who's from Los Angeles, Texas, Houston, Austin, Miami, you know damn well it don't take them no time to get together and get it cracking and get on code with it, because that was always the plan. They just need to get it together just good enough to get themselves, get their feet wet and get themselves halfway solidified, and then bam, we going. There's no part of their strategy that involves enriching you or helping to build a black enterprise with you. Nothing. Your long-term strategy is to be in business. Their long-term strategy is to compete against you. That's what they're aiming for. You aiming to be in business, and you're hiring the very people who aim to go against you. And when they get into position, they'll start voting against you. Now, there's the most insidious part. These folks that you sitting up here throwing dollars at, well, I can't find enough help. I bet you when they start making laws and voting against you, I bet you'll be like, damn, I should have worked a bit harder there. Didn't know it was going to go down like this. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat, Venmo. NJ Williams, you support Chicago FBA. Thank you very much for your support. My man Tommy Felix, support B1 Media. Real Media needs to support B1 Militia FBA lineage. Thank you very much for your support tonight, brother. We appreciate that. Let me get caller from area code 916. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how you doing? I'm Christopher from Sacramento. Thanks for having me on your great broadcast.
What's on your mind?
To be honest, and I got much love for you and your broadcast, but just putting this out there, you said something about Brother Paul Robeson the other night that I didn't really like, and I felt like it was a little bit dishonest. And it didn't really make any sense either. Like, it was during your BRICS conversation when you said Russia wasn't a friend of black people, and then you mentioned, yeah, I remember Paul Robeson. Russia wasn't a friend of black people. And I'm like, wait, that was two different times and two different governments, though. Like, I can understand the government of Russia today, not being a friend of black people, but to like kind of make Paul Robeson kind of a coon almost, or kind of put him out there.
I did not say
like,
that, sir. Your
that's
comprehension
kind of verbatim what you
your
said.
comprehension skills are not very good. I said I remember my statement was about Russia, not about Paul Robeson. I said that Russia is no friend of black people. Yeah, I remember Paul Robeson, because if you say that about Russia, folks are gonna say, "But what about Paul Robeson?" By the same token, we could sit up here and say America's no friend of black people. Jason, what about James Brown? So cherry picking one or two Negroes does not disprove the reality.
I mean, Soviet Russia made it a whole point to outlaw fascism and racism all throughout its system.
Sir,
I mean,
Joseph Stalin, are you kidding me? Do you know the history of Joseph Stalin, sir?
I know a bit.
Okay, Google is your friend, sir. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. First of all, he's off topic. Second of all, he's woefully ignorant. Sir, Google is your friend. You literally can take a look at what happened from transitioning from Nazi Germany to Joseph Stalin. You literally can Google that, which means he's literally ignorant of history and calling me up to dispute me about something he hasn't even bothered to read. Go get some information about that and call me back when you're a little less dumb. Caller from area code 415. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Don P. calling from San Francisco.
Don P. from San Francisco. What's on your mind, brother?
These people really need to get their heads on straight. For the guy from Nigeria that's sitting up on the north side of Chicago, to the business owner, y'all got to understand. Immigration's main purpose was to replace the enslaved people that were freed. That's America's history. And if you don't see it, I've watched it happen for the last 50 years, 55 years here in San Francisco. And yeah, we got a coonstrous mayor. And if they don't understand that immigration is black replacement policy, then you're fooling yourself. These people are not our friends. We don't owe them jack, except for a trip back across the border. That's where they need to go. Because they come into our neighborhoods, yes, they drop them in our neighborhood. The neighborhood I grew up in, ain't nothing but Latinos and Chinese there. You might see a couple of black people. But when they didn't kill us with the crack, when the grandparents died, them fools sold off the property. And then them folks moved in. So our people, we don't need to be fighting for nobody except for us, because we're losing ground in America. Read Michael Harrington's book that was written in 1959, The Other America, and hone in on that chapter, If You're Black, Get Back. Folks, we cannot support these people, and we cannot support the people that support them.
We need to run them about the paint. We have an entire system here at this point that needs to be rejected now. But what it does highlight is that they have cultivated, the strategy has shifted. They're no longer sending white politicians to be our overseers. They're sending in black front people to be their representatives and push the policy. And they're bringing a bunch of these folk from the universities. So much for your black academic class. They're bringing a bunch of folks from these universities and these nonprofits and all this old mess. So you find out when the government wants to put all this money into these universities and these nonprofits, you take a look at what's happening in Chicago, you take a look at their communications directors, their office of management and whatnot, and you're seeing what those investments are paying off with now. By the way, I think Brandon Johnson came from the school board there? So yeah, you're starting to see where it comes from. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get a caller from area code 469. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
There will be Trey Lou from Dallas. Hold on, we on here or what?
Caller from area code 281. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Jason.
What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, thank you, Jason. This is Macaulay, man. I'm calling from Houston, Texas.
Okay, what's on your mind?
Thank you. I'm calling to, with regards to the previous caller from Nigeria, the Nigerian guy. I'm also a Nigerian. What I want to say is so many of us who are Nigerian do not share the sentiment expressed by the Nigerian guy. I think many of us, we are very appreciative of the black community, the black Americans that we meet here, because from my perspective, they are very friendly. You can't go to another man's country and disparage them, So I do not. So many of us, some of us, we listen to the program, but we hardly call in, but we do listen. So we do not share that sentiment expressed by the Nigerian guy. And I also want to thank you for your program. This is what I have to say.
Well, I appreciate that, brother, because the real thing is y'all have to make sure that you take your coon class to task. We're over here regulating ours, we police ours. The problem is those of you who come from these other places, there's not enough of y'all regulating within yourselves, because that's a dangerous, deadly thing. The entire reason that so many of you have had to flee is because there's not enough people on the home soil where you come from regulating that. Dudes like him are the reason that you got puppets of European colonial governments running things. That's the whole reason.
Absolutely.
And if you don't regulate them on African soil, they destroy everything you got, which is what's happened. Now they've migrated over here and they want to destroy what we got. So this is why it is very imperative for those of you who are here, y'all got to ride on them.
Absolutely, because if you look at what's happening in South Africa, they go to South Africa and the people in South Africa are killing them. And you come to America, you come to a community that accept you, and you have the guts to call in and talk down on them. I find that so disgusting. It's crazy how people think, and I don't understand. But I want you to know there's so many of us, millions of us, who do not share that sentiment, and they don't speak for us. They do not represent us.
Well, they don't represent you, but they represent the majority where they came from there. But thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. What you need is an anti-tether media is what you need. Like Candace Owens, you need you need the flip side of Candace Owens. That's what we need. We need some people of an immigrant background who ride on the Candace Owenses. That's what you need to have. It's not just enough for us to do that. If you really want it to be legitimate, you need them to go ahead and have an anti-Candace Owens, an immigrant who's anti-Candace Owens, and put together that media structure. Call from area code 417. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Al from Springfield, Missouri.
Al from Springfield. What's on your mind?
Yes. I want to piggyback what that last caller from San Francisco said. In a case in point of how black folks got replaced, he no further to look down in South Beach in Miami, where 70% of that city, of that entire area, speak Spanish, and they all vote Republicans. Coming from Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, or somewhere in South America and everything else. Once upon a time, black folks, I did some studying. A lot of black folks back then used to own a lot of business in Broward County and everything else.
Well, you take a look at Uvalde, Texas, yet another place. They speak Spanish and everything else, and they vote like Republicans do. So, that's exactly what's going on. So, while a lot of these Republicans give lip service to being against this, in reality, on the low, they're all for it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 317. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Ebony. I'm calling from Joliet, Illinois.
Ebony from Joliet. What's on your mind?
Build the wall, B1.
Oh, short, simple, sweet, to the point. Call from area code 832. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on? It's Jay out of Houston, Texas.
Okay, G out of Houston. What's on your mind?
Jay out of Houston.
Jay out of Houston.
First of all, shout out to the Nigerian brother. First of all, shout out to the Nigerian brother from Houston too. I think this whole thing declined when Lori Lightfoot, she went to task when she went to sue the federal government to allow illegal immigrants to Chicago. Now we see this going all over the country right now, where illegal immigrants they're coming in and taking over the black communities. Now, because of the older generation, they weren't focused on getting their economics together. Now they're falling on us, and I kind of think while it is a bad thing, it's actually a good thing at the same time, because now we see what the problems were at, and now we know how to fix the problems, or what we need to attack to fix the problems.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, they thought it was going to be our issue. That's what they thought it was going to be. And they found out in their lifetimes, oh, no. In your declining years, we're going to transform your neighborhoods, your streets, and it won't take us years to do it. They just sat here and said, okay, you voted for Biden, you voted for drunk Uncle Lightfoot, and you got Brandon BJ ready to roll for 4 years. Like, oh, we're going to take this from you now. We're going to take it from you all right. We bum rushing the door. Now, I've been warning people about this for years. This is a bum rush, man. This is a bum rush. It's just like, okay, Screw it. We're just going to have to do it in the open now. Everybody going to see it. They going to yell. They going to scream. We running for the doors. We busting the doors in now. Because if we wait, we're not going to be able to get it done. There are too many black folk who are going in a different direction. And if you wait now, you're not going to be able to get it done.
Right. Can I say one more thing before I leave? If you're in Houston, Texas, do not vote for Sheila Jackson Lee. She's going to be a bombshell for the black community. A bombshell. And that's all I want to say.
Well, she's already been one. But thank you very much for giving us a call. Jason, what the black folk need to do? You need to have candidates that come from the soil. Don't have anybody that the Democrat Party brought to you, nor the Republican Party for that matter. You need to have candidates who come from the soil. Candidates who come from the people, not candidates who come from the party. And then the machine tells you, well, trust us, old Brandon's a good dude. And he's not Paul Vallis. Yes, he is. They're both two birds of the same damn feather. Why vote out Lori Lightfoot if you're just going to vote this guy here in? You might as well stick with the devil you know. At least don't deceive yourself. Caller Mary Code 913, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Delmonte Green Beans out of Kansas City.
All right, Delmonte out of Kansas City.
What's going on, JB? Yeah, I kind of noticed something about there was an attack on these immigrants that got ran over and shit. So that was like a couple of days ago or something like that. And with this thing at the same time, if you read the chessboard, in a few years, it's almost like they're going to try to force us out the country. We don't have that much resources or anything, so we probably get pushed back into Mexico, maybe. Then if we was to rebuild up Mexico ourselves, then they're going to want to come back in and try to regulate us. It's some funny shit going on. The whole thing that's
weird.
The
whole thing is about it's a reshuffling and a reorganization is what it is. So technically speaking, theoretically, I've been saying that for years now about the Mexicans are coming up here. They bolstered the American economy, and the white folk and the wannabe retirees, and I covered that a few months ago, they all going down there to Mexico and taking the prime real estate and the beachfront property and whatnot down there. So then they'll be, in about 10 years, they'll be screaming about, hey, y'all took all the best places in Mexico. That's our homeland. So they've been fighting to become illegals in America, and all the white folk are just going to expand all the beachfront property they got, and they ain't worried about no cartels because then they're going to eventually have private security. Hell, damn private security. They'll have the U.S. military down there eventually. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller Mary Code 469. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Trey Lou from Dallas.
All right, Trey from Dallas. What's on your mind?
Man, what's going on, Unc? I appreciate the knowledge you spitting. Wonderful broadcast as always. I am perceived from people that I'm being xenophobic, but then when I speak to my partners that are Hispanic, they even have the code of where it's like, I have a partner who's married to a Mexican woman, we would say, but nah, she's a white Mexican because she don't even really give a damn about Mexico. Excuse my language. So it brings up a conundrum in my life to where I seem to be xenophobic, what one would say, just because I like to check paperwork and see, okay, you from here. How many of your brothers and sisters came over here from where? Where are you from?
No, that's the amazing part.
That's what's up.
The amazing part is that after they get over here, they start talking like Republicans. As long as they're good. They don't care about Mexico being good. They just want to be good themselves. So as long as they're good, that's the last time you hear them talking about what you need to do for Mexico. Once they get over here and start living the good life, they're like, man, what the hell? I ain't living in Tijuana.
This comes back to even on the ones that look more melanated like I would. So where East Africans come at me different because I seem to look like I'm East African or something. A nigga look Ethiopian. No, I'm foundational. I can trace my paperwork back to the 1700s. I ain't have to even submit no DNA. I just had to look at the paperwork and see, okay, bam. At least on my father's side, I don't know. My mother is adopted, but hey, my people were come back to this country, so it comes back to the not fleeing. And to, okay, so you telling me you were of a litter of 20 and 16 of y'all came over here, regardless of the race. It's like, where they do that? Because none of us can do that over here. That's a foundational black American fact. We can't get 16 kids right now and then go send them some other country and everybody good. That's not how that works.
Man, if they see if they see 16 unaccompanied black children getting off a plane in Mexico, they're gonna have all their little asses rounded up in a room right then. It's like, where you think you going? Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 916. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This Sacramento again. I didn't appreciate getting hung up on earlier the way you did. Especially, I did have some real shit to say. And
caller from area code 701. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Raya calling out of Fargo, North Dakota.
Raya out of Fargo. What's on your mind?
Okay, so I have a question. I have a comment and I have a question. So I kind of disagree with the Nigerian. Although he is Nigerian, being up here in North Dakota, family over in Minneapolis, I'm sorry, but the sentiments with the African community, they do not fool with us. The majority, if you just look at the majority of them, I work in healthcare, and when I say that they are, they do not fool with us. They think they are better than us. When it comes to them coming over here, a lot of these, there's churches and organizations that have these contracts with African countries, and they will bring them over here, and they get $5,000 stipends when they get into the country. I don't even understand some of them. This one, she's been here for 8 months. She's got a brand new car off of a lot that is it's a really nice vehicle. 2021, I'm like, how do you get to America, be here for 8 months, get a vehicle straight off the lot? How did you get a driver's license and you just came from over there? You know what I'm saying? You don't know. How do you automatically know, the rules of the road and all of the information that you have to, you know what I'm saying?
You make a very good point. This is something I've been talking about for years. If you're black, you will get arrested. Hell, you'll get shot. If you don't have identification, if you don't have registration, if you don't have insurance. See, those are the rules for black folk. And then these people show up and they just roaming wherever they please. No ID, no driver's license, no registration, no identification. Just doing what they please. So what that tells you is that you live in a system of white supremacy where there is a second set of rules. There's what we call common law. There is a common law that says this group here is protected. Don't mess with them now. Leave them alone. They're serving the purpose. So you gotta ease up on them. Now the Negroes, you run wild. You ravage them. But for these other folks, don't do that now. Don't do that.
Yeah, because with me, I moved here from, another state, and I literally came here and I've created a whole new life. I didn't get no $5,000 when I moved here. I got, I came here and I done got it out the mud and I've taken care of business, and that's fine with me. But I look at their situations and I'm like, y'all just out of the gate, give these people everything. I've never seen anything like it until I moved up here to North Dakota. It's everywhere. They're everywhere. I don't have no problem with people coming over here, but when you have things to say about, Black Americans, and we are the ones, as you said, our suffrage, our fighting, our civil rights, movement is what created, the ability for them to even come over here. So I disagree with him saying that there is not that huge sentiment, because I see it. I go through it. Like I said, I work in healthcare, and they don't fool with us.
Yeah, like I say, he was speaking about his personal experience there. And, around him and the folk, that's why I was saying, I'm glad to hear that and everything, but it doesn't speak for the majority. That's the problem I have. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller Miracle 240. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Mr. Black. This is Dwayne calling from Mesa, South Carolina.
Okay, Dwayne, what's on your mind?
Good. I like to be honest. I am an immigrant. I am a former tether. You, along with Professor Black Truth, changed my life. Because of you, I carry a Kit Kat everywhere I go. And being honest, let's be real. Venezuelans along with that ilk, they identify mostly as white. I just spent 3 months in Trinidad, and I can tell you right now, they operate just like the indented Indians back there, where they feel that they're an arm of white supremacy. They do what they want. Yes, they're coming in from Venezuela, so we already know what's going on over there. So they're coming in, and they're pretty much operating in a parasitic manner within Trinidad, and they're doing what they want. Whether it's prostitution or whatnot. So for them to come here, for them to be housed in Chicago, I feel that it's very unfair towards the foundational Black American community. It's unforeseen. It's wrong. Period. Point blank. And I definitely stand against that.
Well, like I say, you got to keep in mind, is this a short-term strategy or a long-term strategy? And anybody who supports this is thinking very short term. You got to ask yourself, okay, since when all these white politicians care so much about non-Anglo people? So if they're flooding the zone with them, it must be because there is if it's not in their short-term interests, then it must be in their long-term interests. And that's the devious part that you need to keep an eye on and investigate further. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 773. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, my name is Denise. I'm from Chicago.
Hi, Denise from Chicago. What's on your mind?
I live in the area of Hyde Park, which is connected to Woodlawn, where this school Wadsworth is, where they're housing. Now, I've lived in Hyde Park for over 40 years, and Woodlawn was 4 blocks away. And that was an all-Black African-American community, very poor income. In the last 10 years, they moved the majority of the people out and built expensive housing and offered people that worked at the University of Chicago the closing costs. So now that area is mixed, and that Wadsworth was a school specifically for behavior disorder children. I used to work there. So when they came in, it was never announced in our news. It was in our newsletter. And I would share with other people, and they said, well, that's not in the news. They had that in the planning for a long time. So there's not very many people in that community now. So therefore, South Shore is close. And that area is the same with a lot of low income and middle class. And now they're more upset because their housing or where they lived was a little more expensive. They're moving African Americans out of these communities and bringing in immigrants. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Well, definitely, like I say, places like Woodlawn and whatnot, for those who are not from Chicago, those are things that, I keep an eye on for the parts that I can monitor in that way. And that's why I'm watching that. So when I hear about the old school houses that they closed down, and they always say it's for the same reason. Oh, declining population. Now, that's the reason that they always tell you, the population's gone down in this area, so we don't need so many schools. Well, okay, if you don't need the schools and whatnot, there's plenty of Black contractors who would love to have the properties and whatnot. And what they're showing you is that these properties would actually be very good to redevelop. But what they're showing you now is, no. We got long-term plans for these old school buildings. We know exactly what we plan to do with them. They're going to house children, all right, just not yours. And it has to be ready-made and ready-built, everyone. You can't do it later. It's got to be ready-made and ready-built. It's got to be ready to go. Got to be ready to go right off the top. It cannot wait. It's got to be ready to go. It's got to be shovel-ready right then. Got to be move-in ready. So, they're going from school to school with folks telling me, man, you got vacant buildings all over the city of Chicago. Why are you concentrating all these people on the south side when you've got vacant buildings all over? Well, yeah, because you aren't all over. So we're bringing them where you are. It'd be different if Black folk were all over Chicago, but you're not. So you're fortunately and conveniently, you're all in one little place. You're all in one little place. So that's exactly where we need you to be. Caller from area code 703. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Sue Yang calling from Richmond, Virginia. How are you?
Okay. You don't sound at all like a Su Yang. Not even close.
I'm biracial. My father's Beijing and my mom's African American.
Okay. Well, I'm certainly
He's from China.
Certainly hoping that I would love to see your social media so we can confirm that, because I would hate to find out that you are mixed with black and buck dance. But all right, Susie Yang, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I was calling because when I was younger, I lived in Kumasi with my parents, and I listened to your show, and you talk about how the Chinese are disrespectful to the Africans in Ghana. And my thing is, that's not true. I wanted to say that's not true.
I don't know what you're referring to in that regard, but I do speak about how certainly there is a lot of movement in Africa by the Asians all over, but I don't think I've ever spoken on Ghana as being some hot spot for that. So I think you got the wrong program.
I remember you saying that, Jason. You said in Ghana they have the Chinese restaurants, and the Chinese go over and they beat the the Africans that are over there, and they mistreat the Africans.
No, ma'am. I think you might have been mishearing me while you were filming a XXX-rated sex scene in Los Angeles. I think you might have been mishearing me while you were doing that. So I can understand. I mean, 3 or 4 fellas having to deal with them at the same time, you might have missed it. But no, ma'am, I'm almost certain it was not me. But if you want to go find that and show me where I said that, then maybe I can go ahead and address it then, and we can deal with it in its proper context. But I'm almost certain, Miss Yang, that was not me.
Well, I want to say about your show that, us immigrants, my father is an immigrant, and I spent lots of time with my father and my mother together. And I like to say that, our these immigrants come over here and they work hard. And
they work hard,
you're lazy.
Ma'am. If they worked hard, they would have something to show for where they came from. They would build that up, and they wouldn't have to flee. So you're kind of self-defeating your own argument. Hardworking people don't run. Hardworking people stand and build.
My father, China's built. China is one of the most powerful countries in the world.
Where are you? And where are you?
I currently live in Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, so China is so built, and your daddy did so great in China that you've run your ass to Virginia. Do you even hear yourself, Susie Wang?
Sir, yes, but that's not why I'm here. I'm not here for economic reasons.
Ma'am, if China was so much on the ball, you would be over there in China enjoying the benefits and the fruits of your father's labor. But you don't live there. You live in the country that we built.
But who built? White men built America.
If you thought that, you wouldn't be on a black person's program.
I listen to various programs. My mother's black.
Ma'am, if you believe that, you would not be on a black person's program. That's not where you'd be at. You'd be somewhere else if you actually really thought that. So I think I got some video here of you. I'm almost certain I got some video of you. So I wanted to make sure we I think I found your social media. I think I found your social media. I'm almost certain what it is here is this you up here? I'm almost certain that I'm almost certain I found you.
No, I'm a little darker like my mother.
Yeah, I'm almost certain this is you. I'm pretty sure it's Susie Wang. So we found you here. So it's all right. I just wanted to make sure we had the right one.
Maybe I pull up.
All right. Thank you there very much for giving us a call here tonight. Old Susie is doing the most. Susie is doing the most. May love you a long time. All right, caller from area code 412. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason. My name is Tracy. How are you?
Okay, your phone broke up on you. What's your name again?
I say my name is Tracy. How are you, Jason?
Hello, Tracy. What's on your mind?
Yeah, we were just talking about that. And forget the old Chinese heifer. Forget her. I'm not even thinking about her. But I was just talking to my cousin who owns a construction company down south. 3 weeks ago, I was just talking about that same subject. He told me he used to hire Hispanics to work for him, but he said he stopped. He said because they're trying to tell him what he needs to do on his job where he was paying them to work. He said he stopped hiring them. He don't hire no immigrants anymore. He said they tried to come on their he was doing something. He had a construction thing he was doing. He had brought some other workers out, some African-American workers to work, and there were some other subcontractors who was out there too. They were trying to tell my cousin and his workers what to do. He said, wait a minute, no, we're not doing that. So he had to come intervene with the other subcontractors who was there and tell them that he had black workers working on this on the building, because they were doing some construction for some new apartments going up. They're electricians, and they was trying to sabotage my cousin and his group of black folks he had hired to do some work on. Now, what kind of stuff like that? So we see the things that happen. We see it. They was trying to sabotage, and that do happen. I was just having a conversation with him about this, and it's so crazy. He said that's why he do not hire no more immigrants on any of his jobs anymore. He said if he got to go out and then teach somebody how to do it, he will do it.
As black folk, we're going to have to learn that this generation, fair or not, we're going to have to build our economy. You can't depend on these people are not bringing these illegals up here to be our workforce. They're bringing them up here to be their workforce, and they just want them to get in good so that they can use them as a buffer class to supplant and remove us. But the idea that we somehow gonna pull something slick and we didn't bring them up here. We didn't make the rules to bring them up here. We're not giving them the housing and everything. They're taking our money for it, but we didn't devise the plan to do that. So how the hell you think you're being slick and you're gonna, I'm gonna co-opt their plan against us to make it work for me? It doesn't work that way. Not now, not ever. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. We're gonna go ahead and wrap things up here. Folks, I've been warning you about it. The illegal alien tidal wave is here. It's here. Get on code or get run over. That's the bottom line. Everybody got to be on code. But it gives an opportunity for everyone to show where their allegiances are and where they really stand. That's the good part about this, is everybody now has to go ahead and show and prove where they stand. Pick your side. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program here on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat, Venmo. B1 Media is a lifesaver. Thank you very much for your support. Mr. Richburg, Mr. Baker, IDL Financials, Delsina, and Zachariah, and everyone else who has contributed to support tonight's program. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking, best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Race War, all available on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank all of you for tuning in live here and recorded. I want to thank all of you for liking and sharing the program, and thank you for subscribing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.